The first issue was written almost entirely by Harvey Kurtzman. Um, the comic book converted to magazine format as of issue number 24, which was 1955. The switch over only induced Kurtzman to remain for one more year, but crucially, the move had removed Mad from the strictures of the Comics Code. They didn't have to follow the censorship code deal. And after his departure in '56, Al Feldstein swiftly brought aboard contributors such as Don Martin, Frank Jacobs, Antonio Prohias. And the magazine's circulation more than quadrupled during his tenure, peaking at over 2 million in 1974. When Feldstein retired in '84, he was replaced by the team of Nick Meglin and John Ficarra, who co-edited the magazine for the next 2 decades. And following Gayden's death, Mad became more ingrained within the Time Warner corporate structure, and eventually the magazine was obliged to abandon its longtime home on Madison Avenue, and in the mid-1990s moved to DC Comics offices on Broadway. The magazine broke its law-standing taboo and began running paid advertising. Yeah, they never did that. It was great. Yeah, definitely more advanced than comics. You had to really appreciate the humor in it. It was just awesome. Anybody and anything was a target, but it was hilarious. By the end of '58, Mad had settled an unusual 8 times a year schedule, which lasted almost 40 years. So, to go with Mad's style of humor in print, radio, and film, Mad became a pioneering example of it. Throughout the '50s, it featured groundbreaking parodies combining a sentimental fondness for the familiar staples of American culture, such as Archie and Superman, with a keen joy in exposing the fakery behind the image. Its approach was described in the New York Times. Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding on the radio, Ernie Kovacs on television, Stan Freberg on records, and Harvey Kurtzman in the early. All of this pioneering humorists and others realized that the real world mattered less to people than the see sounds and images that the ever more powerful mass media were pumping into their lives. So, Mad Magazine. I had to love the back cover. Excuse me. I loved it because you had to fold it and you got another picture. Usually whatever was the feature going on. If it was politics, it had something to do with politics. If it was, let's just say, style or fashion, then it would have to do with that. But it was always hilarious. Mad is often credited with filling a vital gap in political satire from the 50s to the 70s, when Cold War paranoia and a general culture of censorship prevailed. Yeah, remember folding that and getting the picture on the back? I love that. That was great. We always like to do that. Especially in literature for teens. The rise of such factors as cable television and the internet have diminished the influence and impact of Mad. Although you can go online and get it, so do that. In a way, Mad's power has been undone by its own success. What was subversive in the 50s and 60s is now commonplace. However, its impact on 3 generations of humorists is incalculable. You gotta love it. As can be seen in the frequent references to Mad on the animated series The Simpsons. So there you go. The Simpsons has transplanted Mad Magazine. Basically, everyone who was young between 55 and 75 read, in 1975, read Mad. And that's where your sense of humor came from. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Now you know why I'm the way I am. Now you have an explanation, so there you go. And I think The Simpsons has taken that spot in America's heart. In 2009, the New York Times wrote, Mad once defined American satire. Now it heckles from the margins of all of culture, competes for trickster status. Longtime contributor Al Jaffe described the dilemma in 2010. When Mad first came out in 52, it was the only game in town. Now you've got graduates from Mad who are doing the Today Show, Stephen Colbert, or Saturday Night Live. All of these people grew up on Mad. Now Mad has to top them. So it's almost a competition with itself. You gotta love it. The magazine took a general negative tone towards counterculture drugs, but also savage mainstream drugs such as tobacco and alcohol. Mad always satirized Democrats as mercilessly as it did Republicans. Everybody was fair game. It was that simple. Al Feldstein recalled, "We even used to take the hippies over the coals. They were protesting the Vietnam War, but we took aspects of their culture and had fun with it. Mad was wide open." Yeah, it was. Anything, everything, and everyone was fair game. But it was awesome. They did it. It was satirical. It wasn't offensive. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It explains a lot. Nobody was safe. So I think that kind of had something to do. If it had picked on just one person or one group, it might have had some issues. But everybody and everything was fair game, and it was great. And yeah, Saturday Night Live, yeah, those people grew up on it. Gotta love it. They've had some specials on Mad. So, in 2007, the Los Angeles Times, Robert Boy wrote, "All I really need to know I learned from Mad magazine." There you go. Yep, me too. That's all I needed to know. And he went on to say, and I quote, "The magazine instilled in me a habit of mind, a way of thinking about a world rife with false fronts, small print, deceptive ads, booby traps, treacherous language, double standards, half-truths, subliminal pitches, and product placement. It warned me that I was often merely the target of people who claimed to be my friend. It prompted me to mistrust authority, to read between the lines, to take nothing at face value, to see patterns in the often shoddy construction of movies and TV shows, and it got me to think critically in a way that few actual humans charged with my care ever bothered to." So there you go. And Brian Ciano, 1994, The Humanist, discussed the effect on Mad on that segment of people who already disaffected from society. And I quote, "From the smarter kids of two generations, Mad was a revelation. It was the first to tell us that the toys we're being sold were garbage, our teachers were phonies, our leaders were fools, our religious counselors were hypocrites, and even our parents were lying to us about damn near everything. An entire generation had William Gaines for a godfather. This same generation later went on to give us the sexual revolution, the environmental movement, the peace movement, greater freedom and artistic expression, and a host of other goodies. Coincidence? You be the judge." So there you go. Yeah. If you grew up with Mad Magazine, well, what else needs to be said? And of course, what was Alfred E. Newman's motto? Do you know what it is, Valerie? Anybody? Do you remember? His motto. What? Me worry? You gotta love it. And of course, that's the image of Mad Magazine. Alfred E. Newman, the boy with the misaligned eyes, a gap-toothed smile, and the motto, "What? Me worry?" The original image was a popular humorous graphic for many decades, but the face is now primarily with Mad. And they first used that in November 1954. His iconic full-cover appearance was as a write-in candidate for president in issue 30, December 1956, in which he was identified by name and sported his "What Me Worry" motto. He has since appeared in a slew of guises and comic situations. A letter once was successfully delivered to the magazine through the U.S. mail, bearing only Newman's face, without any other address. So there you go. Yeah, there is a spin-off of this. Those Times Rock, they did, didn't they? Mad Kids. I didn't even know about this until I did the research. Between 2005 and February of 2009, the magazine published 14 issues of Mad Kids, a spin-off publication aimed at a younger demographic. It's reminiscent of Nickelodeon's newsstand titles. It emphasized current kids' entertainment, Yu-Gi-Oh!, High School Musical, etc., albeit with an impudent voice. Much of the content of Mad Kids had originally appeared in the parent publication. Some reprinted material, say that slow, was chosen and edited to reflect the grade schoolers' interests. But the quarterly magazine also included newly commissioned articles and cartoons as well. Bonus insert puzzles, a calendar. Following the success of Mad, other black and white magazines of topical satiric comics began to be published. The three longest lasting were Cracked. Oh, remember Cracked? Yes. Sick and Crazy magazine. I remember Cracked for sure. I had forgotten about that. Yes. And many featured a covered mascot along the lines of Alfred E. Newman, of course. Oh my God, Cracked. I remember that was another one we got. Wow. It was great. So Mad Magazine, how could you not? I associate that kind of with SNL, Saturday Night Live. I love Saturday Night Live back in the day. Not so much now, but I really enjoyed it then. That was great. Cracked Magazine. Oh my God, I forgot all about Cracked Magazine. Wow. Yes, because we used to get that one too. Where do you think I got my humor? My dad started me on it, so there you go. Uh, Cracked. I forgot all about that. Uh, Again, Cracked was a magazine satirical. This was monthly, though. And its first issue was 1958, and unfortunately, the final issue was 2010. It kind of copied Mad's layouts and style. And it even featured a simple-minded white-cheeked mascot. Remember Sylvester P. Smythe? Oh my God, I forgot all about it. Um, the Smith character was referred to as Crack's janitor. Unlike Newman, who appears primarily uncovered, Smith sometimes spoke and was frequently seen inside the magazine, interacting with the parody subjects and other regular characters. Um, a 1998 reader contest led to Smith's finally getting a full middle name, Fooey. An article on Crack.com, which the website which adopted Crack's name after the magazine parish, joked that the magazine was created as a knockoff of Mad Magazine just over 50 years ago. And basically he said that the fan base primarily comprised of people who got to the store after Mad sold out. So you never heard of Cracked? Look it up. I bet you remember. So Cracked Magazine, that was another one. I didn't think it was as good as Mad, but it was real similar to it. Real similar to it. Yeah, look it up. You'll see it. You'll remember it. You gotta love it. So that was that. But Mad Magazine was the elite of it. It really was. And I think I learned it from my dad and that my wonderful sense of humor. Yes, I have one. Thank you very much. But yeah, Cracked. Oh my God, I forgot all about that magazine till I read that. Um, how about those Saturday morning comics? What is up with those? I remember I loved, Bugs Bunny, the Roadrunner. You always loved the, um, Wile E. Coyote and his Acme products. You gotta love it. Um, how about the Jetsons? Uh, I mean, come on. And of course, Saturday mornings were awesome. Um, The Saturday morning cartoons, of course, it's a term for the original animated television programming. Okay, whatever. Saturday